We wanted to, get up here and talk about how good we feel about where we are. We've been able to retain some of our players, add some new ones in free agency. And as always, I want to start by thanking the Wilfs for the great resources they provide us to do so, and also for the ability to treat them like first class while they're here. Before I go any further, I'd like to first acknowledge Kirk Cousins. Kirk and Julie have been great members of this community for a long time, predating Kevin and my arrival here. He's been a pillar of professionalism and production at the position. In these last couple of years, we've got a lot of great memories here, one of them being a division title ball that I looked at before I walked down here. He deserves a lot of credit for that, and we'll always appreciate Kirk and thank him for that. These decisions are never easy. Saying goodbye to Neil Hunter is not easy. Neil Hunter's been a great member of this organization for a long time. I'm glad we found solutions so he could be a Viking for these past 2 years and watch him resume his status as one of the league's premier rushers. Saying goodbye to Jordan Hicks is not easy. Someone who's, embodies everything that it takes to be a Minnesota Viking. There's always change in sports teams. One of my best friends texted me last night, there is no sports team ever that's been the same one year to the next. Change doesn't mean that the memories that you've made, the relationships that you have, all that stuff wasn't real and meaningful. Change, oftentimes just means opportunity. Opportunity for people to thrive in new roles. Just new opportunity for people. And we accept that, and that's, something we appreciate. There's an opportunity for some new players that you guys will meet a little bit later to don a Vikings uniform, take on the tradition of this great organization, and we're excited for them to do so. We've put a lot into this process to get to this point in the offseason, and again, we're excited where we are. I want to finish by thanking my football operations department. They put in a lot of work, headlined by our pro department, everybody in our personnel operation that's involved in free agency, and then Kevin and his staff. We talk about collaboration a lot, but what collaboration means is a lot of hard work for these guys that not every staff does. And I always want to say that I'm grateful for them because I think that is why we've been able to bring in players that fit our scheme, our roles, and our responsibilities. And with that, I'll open up with questions.
The $255 million cap, is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
Yeah, when the news broke, Kev came running in. It's like it's found money, and it's like, well, every other team gets it as well. So yes, obviously on the margins that helps. But we had planned to be where we were, for these past couple of years, where we had space and we had things. So I guess that was an adder for us, but it also created more cap space for other teams. So it's kind of neutral. Some teams would probably answer that question a little differently than I did.
Does it impact moving forward, signing other free agents, knowing that there's dead money from Cousins' deal?
No. Dead money's a funny thing. It's kind of a line on an accounting Excel spreadsheet that you kind of navigate. When it goes away, it frees up the next year. So these are, again, Rob, myself, Kevin, the Wills, we plan over a 3-year horizon. So these are things we prepared for. And so that will not affect, I think, as you've seen and will continue to see, won't affect our ability to acquire players.
Does Kirk's decision basically lock you into needing to draft somebody?
No, I would not say that.
So how would you sort of articulate the plan you have at that position? In addition to Sam?
Yeah. I think, when you think about team building, that position, I think it's some, I don't know if it's a scale, but some scale of quarterback play and then the rest around it. You can look at, last year's Super Bowl for your own example of that. So when you talk about that, you're trying to figure out which path you're on and which avenue you're gonna be on. And so really, I think as we enter this draft, we have the flexibility to go either way. So we do have, if the opportunity comes where that player is available, we'll take it. If it's not available in that sense, we'll continue to build around and then find potential odds at a long-term solution in addition to what we've already brought in with Sam and anybody else we acquire. So really, the answer isn't some strict thing, and part of that is the flexibility we've wanted to put into our plan for these past couple of years.
How tough was the call, guys, on Kirk? And was it, from the Wills to you to Kevin, agreed upon? Once you saw what the Falcons were going to pay him, that it was probably best to step out, or was there conversation / dissension about the decision a little bit?
I'll let him start.
I think there was complete alignment, with how. Not only going into the process, but how everything played out from a standpoint of our plan for Kirk. Everybody knows how myself, Kwesi, this organization feels about Kirk, and sometimes things just don't work out. And I think the most important thing is that alignment and the understanding that our plans in place. Kwesi's used the word contingency plans, but those are all discussions and paths and avenues we can take at a very, very important position. No doubt, but in the end, as much as I would have maybe liked to have Kirk here, the right thing moving forward for our team is where we are today. And I think it all goes back to our process that goes into it, the communication and that alignment that I personally think is the most important thing. And my confidence level in the folks around me on our coaching staff, and obviously Kwesi's department, and the opportunity we have here from the Wilfs, I'm very confident in where we're going to go at that position in the future.
When you sign a quarterback for 1 year, a veteran quarterback, he's a bridge quarterback. Can you win at the level you want to win at with a bridge quarterback?
I'm gonna stop using terms I think they get. So I'm not gonna call him a bridge quarterback, but he's a quarterback that's on our roster under contract for a year. Ultimately at the end of the day, the position is about how do you run Kevin's offense. How do you overcome context when the play is not right? There's different skill sets that go into the position. That's how we evaluate it. The contract in itself is a series of options to stay or go, right? And sometimes an agent and a player will decide, hey, I want a 1 year, and so that I can do something different. A team will decide I want longer. Those are separate conversations from the evaluation of the position and how you plan to build your team. And the only thing I wanted to add about Kevin's, previous comments is there was complete alignment. This sport isn't such where you can just say on a binary basis, I want that player. I think we've been very clear since we've gotten here that we like Kirk Cousins. We've been very clear that we think we could win Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. But that we have a sport that only gives you a certain number of draft picks, a salary cap, competition versus other teams. It's a resource-constrained thing. So we don't get the chance to just say binary, yes or no. There has to be planning and strategy involved. And sometimes, I think when I called Kirk, we joked about the uncomfortable middle. That's what deals should be, and we weren't able to find that, and that's hard from a basis of an appreciation for the player and all those different things. But that doesn't mean we didn't compete for him. Just sometimes it gets to a place where that uncomfortable middle isn't somewhere where you wanted to go, where a different team can go because in their timeline of their team, they're in just a different situation. That's all that can come down to a lot of times.
Kwesi and Kevin, as good as Aaron Jones has been, I know you guys really want to upgrade the running game and everything. As good as he's been, what goes into pulling the trigger on a guy that, he's what his track record is, but he's a running back and he's 29 years old?
Yeah, I mean, a lot goes into that, obviously, projections, calculations, things like that. But ultimately, that stuff is just a guardrail. You look at a player's production, you know the person and who he is. You look at it, what he adds to that room, and we feel really good about what we had in that room to start that discussion with Ty Chandler. You feel really good about the draft and different things that you can do on your team. That's a position group where you need depth no matter what you do, and so we'll continue to do so. But we're excited about Aaron, and we get the conversation about running backs and age and different things like that. But I think as you've seen this year in the market, maybe that dynamic has gone a little too far to the other side, and teams are realizing that there's still really good players at their value, and it's a position where you can really upgrade performance at a pretty efficient, asset wise, and we're excited to have him.
Yeah, I would just add that, I've always been a huge Aaron Jones fan. Running the football, his ability to impact the game in the pass game, the poise and the demeanor and the leadership that really kind of, was very, very visible from an opposing sideline of the player. And all of that's been confirmed in a short amount of time, really since we've been able to have him in the building today and getting around him. I think he enhances our room more than just the addition of another running back. It's how he fits his skill set with Ty and our other runners in the room, and more importantly, what he may unlock from things he's done in this league, things that fit for our offense. He's a complete back from a standpoint of a guy that's played a lot of football. He is 29 years old, but he's also been part of a an offense where he hasn't had to, carry the full burden, the full load, and the impact on third down as a pass protector, a receiver out of the backfield of 5 yards per carry career average. I mean, this is a guy that's had the type of impact we were looking for to add to our room, and I'm really, really excited to start getting to work with Aaron.
How are you kind of reconciling Kirk's departure on a personal level, knowing that the work you guys put in over the past few years, the relationship you guys have developed? I know it's it's a business and all that, but I'm just curious like how you kind of absorb that on a personal level.
Yeah, I think Kirk said it best. I mean, bittersweet's the term probably, just because I've been very close with Kirk really since I started coaching him in 2017, and then getting to have it come for full circle with Kirk and Julie and his family, getting to come here to be the opportunity to be the head coach of this great organization, and knowing that Kirk was going to be the guy I would get a chance to kind of do it with, and that partnership of getting to build our offense, and something we were really proud of. And quite honestly, the way he was playing when he when he did get injured was how I envisioned us getting to that place, and then hopefully sustaining that for a long period of time. Kirk, the dialogue that I've had with Kirk, not only pre and post his decision that he made, will continue for a long time. I'm very, very close with Kirk, and I'm happy he was able to go through that process and find something that he could be excited about, and the opportunity that Atlanta gave him to come down there and on a process for him that I think there was some anxiety there with the situation, and in the end, like I said, Kirk and my relationship will always be something that it probably didn't need to be solidified over these last 2 years, but it certainly was, and I'll forever be grateful for my time that I had with him. And but at the same time, this is an exciting time of year as we start building our team for 2024, and the additions that Kwesi's really made to this roster, and really where we're going to take it from here is also something that provides you with a lot of excitement about where we can take it.
Kevin, you talked a lot about the quarterback being an extension of yourself and
Yep.
how important that is. Now that whether it's Sam or a rookie coming in here or both, how do you develop that with a new set of quarterbacks as opposed to Kirk when you kind of already had that built in?
Yeah, I think it's just about the time on task and value received. I trust in Wes Phillips, and love the fact that Josh McCown's going to have a real hand in that, along with Grant Udinsky in that quarterback room. And then it's just I have very strong beliefs about the development of the quarterback position, what that looks like. I think it's important we all acknowledge that it's different depending on the player you're talking about, and we're going to have multiple guys in that room, and it's important that all those guys feel the approach that we feel very strongly about. We're very proud of not only what we've kind of built here for all the players on our roster, and what it means to become a Minnesota Viking, and the type of support that they receive throughout our whole building. I'd like to think that's magnified because of my role with the quarterback position, that all of our quarterbacks do feel and hopefully benefit from. But it's something I'm very much looking forward to, and you guys will get a chance to meet Sam today. Always been a fan of Sam from the time he came out at USC. I've known him a lot longer than that, going back to when he was in high school. And just think, to be able to have a guy with 56 career starts, such a journey that he's been on, and really where I think he still has the best football out in front of him, and I'm excited to try to help Sam, along with Josh and Grant and Wes, the rest of our staff, and really our team, really wrap our arms around him, and as the process plays on throughout the rest of the spring, what that competition quarterback room looks like. I think it's going to make all of us better. And quite frankly, looking forward to it.
Kwesi, has the league had any communication with you about this potential tampering that they're looking into with the?
No, and I'll be honest, that's kind of above our fray there. But I've just been busy trying to work on the roster, work on preparing to talk to you fine citizens. I'm not aware of any of that stuff.
Kevin, what do you tell Sam coming in here on a one-year deal about his role, expectations? What's your message to him?
Yeah, I think through my evaluation of Sam, and there's some kind of higher level things about his game and things that the growth I saw from previous years or maybe even his Carolina time to some of the things he put on tape in San Francisco that got me excited about can we continue to continue that growth there. As far as what he's been told in my dialogue with Sam, it's been all about coming in and competing and fully just investing in the process, investing in a daily attack of just trying to continue to be the best version of himself, while understanding that we're going to we brought a player in here with great experience, because you guys know, I believe I've said this before, all experience can be good experience if it's used the right way, and I think Sam's proven that he's already on a trajectory to do that. I have a lot, like I said, my confidence level in what we can provide a quarterback, not only within the walls of this building, but out on the field with their teammates. I just want to see him attack it on a daily basis and put his head down, go to work, and do what he's always done and just chase improvement. And I really feel like where he's at from a mental standpoint and just his excitement and urgency throughout this process is going to be seen and felt by all, and I can't wait to see him get going.
It's been tough for Sam at times. Are there things that you've seen on film that you think can be fixed? Because you played for the Jets, which was a tough one.
Yeah.
Carolina, back up with a good team last year. But Kevin, are there things that you've seen and say, you know what, that can be fixed, that can be fixed?
I think there's always things as coaches that's our job, to try to identify ways to help a player, give them, it's easy to sit there and say this or that or the other, but our job is to have a plan to actually help them do that, which as a coach, that's what gets you excited. But I also think, for every time you might sit there and say, oh, we need to work on this, or, we can enhance this part of Sam's game, there's some other things where you look at and say, there it is, that's why. He's always shown those things. He's always shown, whether it was the end of 22 with Carolina, that he can go in and play winning football. Tough circumstances sometimes find all quarterbacks in this league. I think that's just the life of an NFL quarterback. And, then he gets a chance to go to San Francisco with Kyle and Brian Greasy, and I thought they did a great job with him, because his tape from one year to the next, you see some things that translate. High level, you could tell he was really working on things. My conversations with him about his feet and eyes and reading with his feet and playing in rhythm and being able to make great decisions with the football all leads you to, and he's making, those comments are being made out of experience of not only things he's done well, but we all sometimes have our greatest growth in moments of failure. The level of that failure at this position tends to be magnified, because it's for all to see. Wins or losses tend to get put on that player, regardless of circumstance around them, or the voice in the headset, or all the things that goes into it. And I'd like to think the combination of all those things for us here in Minnesota, and where Sam's at in his career, that this makes this a great opportunity for both the Vikings and Sam.
Is there something you think you'll take most from just the year-to-year negotiations with Kirk going back to 2022?
Like I always say, and I think that's a great question, and if I understand it correctly, I try and keep everything that we talk about with the agents just private, because I think that's what you should do. But you always do learn things. I think how you communicate with people, how you make them feel, all those different things. You learn from not just those negotiations, but everyone. And it's, as I told Kirk's agent last year, and I told him this year, it's not like they sit across from a table and you don't understand why they're saying what they're saying, their points, all those things. That they make great arguments, we make great arguments, and again, sometimes you just can't find that middle. But definitely learned a lot from the negotiation, and we'll continue that going forward.
Last couple questions.
You both mentioned input from Flores heading into his second year as coordinator. How does what he hopes to embody reflect in your defensive additions?
Yeah, I think I really want to credit Kwesi and really Flo, and just watching the dynamic of really trying to start out the process with core values that we hoped to, not only add defensively, but I think all five of the guys you're going to talk to today share some core values of loving the game of football, smart, tough, guys that are going to be great within our locker room. Even seeing them together last night at dinner, with their significant others and some of our coaches, you're taken back by, you see the connection between these guys that in some cases had never met before, and they're walking out of that dinner, truly with a bond already, and they all talk about how excited they are to join kind of what's been built here and the locker room and how excited they are. They've already talked to some of their teammates. It's really cool from my perspective to see. But then when you establish those, you identify the things that you really feel are going to be important if we're going to be going out to add pieces to our team. I think Jonathan, Andrew, and Blake all do that. They check, it's one thing to say you've checked boxes, but then, when I shut my eyes and think about possible additions we could have made to our defense, especially right out of the gate in free agency, being very competitive with some top-tier players that a lot of the league wanted to add to their team, and these guys wanted to become Minnesota Vikings, and it just kind of felt in each case, individual stories passed to get there, guys, different trajectories of their careers, but right now, I'm very excited about each and every one of these guys and what they're going to bring to our team, and really the role flow, in his dialogue with Kwesi and myself and how this has all kind of come together, really was a very positive for me as the head coach, knowing what we needed to get done.
You talked at a couple different junctures about kind of resources and constraints you have to operate within. Over the last couple of years, how important has it been to you to, I guess, get some of the cap flexibility back, and how much has that driven some of the moves?
Yeah, that's been a big part of it. When you sit down and you look at your team when you first inherited, you think about, you sit with Kev and Rob, and you ask yourself, how good can we be? But we've always talked about it's being in the tournament every year to give yourselves a chance. And so how do you set yourself up for that with the flexibility to go on different paths? And so that is something we talked about. I'm not going to use that term that I used to term ever again, but that is a part of it. It is, giving yourself the flexibility to win now, to win in the future, and that's what we're designed to do here at the Vikings. And before I think we're about to wrap up, I want to give special thanks to Rob. I didn't name him specifically, but every year I watch him basically be the Vikings frontline member in free agency. It's humbling to watch as somebody who can't necessarily pick up a phone and do those things that he can do. It's humbling to watch up close. Every year I'm more and more impressed with him. The Vikings are lucky to have him. And then Emily, obviously, who's somebody who works with him, incredible, does a lot of great work for us, bright star in this industry going forward. Wanted to make sure I gave acknowledgement to them before we go.
Last question.
Are you surprised that the NFC North has taken on a new, I mean, totally different and totally kind of out of your control right now?
Yeah, I think, when we're at the highest level in the sport. Kevin got here for being incredible at every step of the way. And myself, I don't know if I've met his level, but getting here, you want to compete at the highest level against the best. And I think this division has great coaches, great general managers. I have a lot of respect for my counterparts in this division, so I'm not surprised. They built the teams they built, but when you want to beat somebody, you got to first appreciate where they are to beat them. And I do appreciate and respect all those guys. And they built some great teams, but we're going to put one together on the field, and we're going to go out and see what happens. And we're excited for that fact.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.